Good morning, everyone. So there's been a little delay with the program, but I just figured you're ready to get this going, right? Let's get this started. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm Claudine Ewing from Channel 2, and I was asked to come and be your MC for this morning. And so now we are going to begin the program, and we are going to have the McKinley High School JROTC to start us off.
Color, hope! Requesting permission to post the color. Please post. Post. Ready, post! Present, arms.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we will hear from Drea Noor.
Lift every voice and sing
Thank you, Drea, for that very nice rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing. And now to move our program ahead, I'd like to call up Elizabeth Caffey. She's the director of Canisius College.
Oh. Ready, fake. Go for it. Mark.
Let's thank them. And thank you for rolling with us, because this program is a little off key, but it's okay. You're here and you are going to enjoy your day. So now let's bring up Elizabeth Caffey, who is the director of the Canisius College Academic Talent Search Program.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to say thank you for coming out today. I know it was kind of hard with the weather and all, but we do appreciate you being here. I'd also like to thank our sponsors. DuPont is our lead sponsor for today. I don't know if he wants to say anything, but he's welcome to come up and say something. But before I take my seat, I just want to tell everyone, the school administrators here that thought so much of our program to come out and bring their students, thank you so very much. This is going to be an eventful day. As Claudia Ewing has said, you know, there was a few bumps, but we push on and we go ahead, you know, and that's why we chose to sing the theme, you can, you will, you must. So that's what we're going to do. We must continue our program. We must continue our journey. So I'm going to take my seat right now, and I'm going to let our lead sponsors speak to you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Akin Elijah Colcrick. I'm an engineer at DuPont. I know my name is very interesting, is it? Yeah. I'm an engineer at DuPont, and I'm just really proud and excited to actually be here. DuPont in Tonawanda is we've been sponsoring this program for, I don't know, probably close to about 8 to 10 years or so. And it's very exciting that we could just kind of invest in you, and especially working with Liz and the Talent Search program for the last couple of years, just being able to see the development and just the growth in the program and just the amount of people that it affects. And this is really exciting, and I'm excited that we could sponsor this program and continue to do that for the next couple of years. Thank you so much.
And it's so important to have good sponsors, because programs like this could not happen if you don't have someone to back it. So young people, remember that. And so when you see someone who's sponsoring a program that you get to attend, support them. It makes a big difference, and it goes a long way for everyone. I'd like for Phil Davis, if he's in the room, and Chloe Hennings, if they could come up to do the welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. On behalf of Canisius Academic Talent Search, we just want to welcome you to our Black History Month program. Phil and I, as you know, are your counselors. I know you all haven't seen me as much at McKinley and Performing Arts anymore. I had to leave you all for being in the MST, but I love you all equally.
What's going on, my folks? How we doing? So glad to see all of you here today. You guys are in for a nice treat. We got Brother Shiggy coming through in a little bit. Who knows Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Okay, just making sure y'all still riding with me. All right, so thank you all for coming today. We have a wonderful speaker for you today, Mr. Will Green. And so it's going to be a very nice event. We thank you all for being here, and welcome to the program. All right?
And so as we keep getting this rolling, is Mayor Byron Brown here? No. Okay, so there will be a proclamation from Mayor Brown, if not now, hopefully by the end of this program. Your keynote address was supposed to be from the New York State Attorney General. She was unable to make it. However, she did send a letter, and I'll just read a portion of it. To the students of Canisius College and, of course, all of the young people from the Buffalo Public Schools and other school districts that are here, it is with regret that I am unable to attend the Black History Month celebration hosted by Canisius College and all of you. I am humbled and honored to receive the Outstanding Community Representative Trailblazer Award as part of these events and appreciate this recognition both professionally and personally. And she also mentions that it is vital that we recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of Black Americans, but truthfully, she says, I struggle with the concept of Black History Month. The history, contributions, and stories of Black Americans far exceed the shortest month of the year. We should celebrate and learn from these great individuals every day. And so I'll ask if maybe the counselors can make sure that this letter is circulated so that all of the students can read this letter in its entirety. So now we'll move on with the program, and Will Green is here from Say Yes. Will?
Okay. I think that one is going. You got to pardon me. I'm not the tech person. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How you doing? Good. Good? How am I doing? Excellent. Excellent. I'm doing excellent. Okay. So, my name is Will Green. I usually don't do behind the podium. Because I take up a lot of space. I do. So we'll just work with this for now. All right. So question, right? Everybody, well, not everyone, young people, high school students, right? Okay. So freshmen, put your hands up. Don't be afraid, freshmen. You're the future. Only a smattering of freshmen. All right. Thanks, freshmen, for being bold enough to put your hands up. Sophomores, put your hands up. Okay. Juniors, put your hands up. Hey, you can make a little noise too. You can make a little noise. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, juniors. Don't get carried away. You still got one more year to go. All right. Seniors. Okay. So I'll applaud every class. All right. So not only am I glad that you've made it to your respective years in high school, I'm glad that you made it here this morning. All right. How many people saw the snow this morning and decided to pull the covers over their head for an extra 5 minutes? I did. I've lived in Buffalo my whole life. And young people, I'll share this with you. I've been in Buffalo my whole life. I went from playing in the middle of the street on ice-covered streets, tackle, fumbly rumbly. They still play fumbly rumbly? One-on-one with my best friend, not even knowing that it was negative 20 degrees. Till now, it's like 15, 20 degrees. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm running home. So it doesn't get better, it gets worse. There you go. All right. So I told you I'm born and raised in Buffalo, New York. Went to Buffalo Public Schools. I went to school 53. 5'3"? All right, there you go, 5'3". Nan Woods was my principal, African-American principal, a monolith in the community. And then I went to Hutch Tech High School. Tech High. Tech High. There were a lot of lessons learned in going from 53, a community school, a block away from my grandmother's house, to Hutch Tech, you know, a National School of Excellence at the time while I attended. I'm just saying. But you had about a 15% population of African American students. And I was the only 8th grader from School 53, male, to go to Hutch Tech. So yeah, I was kind of on my own. But very interesting. So I was told that the theme today is you can, you will, you must. I'm feeling that thing. I'm feeling that thing. That's pretty inspirational. This is also the day that we kind of round out Black History Month, right? So I have to speak to you guys in the context of the theme, you can, you will, you must, along with the idea of Black History Month, right? With a little personal stuff smothered in there, okay? You with me on that? Yeah. We can do that? Yeah. Okay. And then I want to leave some time for questions. So, I got a little call and response, you know. It's kind of how we do. So I'm going to take each of these themes, and before we start each section that I discuss, we're going to do a call and response. So I'll say, you can. You say, you can. Right? And then basically, whatever I say, you say it back. You follow me on that? Y'all want to take a little test run before we actually write it out? We got it? We got it. Okay. So, you can. I can. We can. Psst, perfect. I know. See, that's why y'all still go to school. You got it. All right. So, looking at you can. I know that you can. And you should know that you can as well. How do we know that? There's a historical record that proves it. If we look at the context of Black history, which is not just African American history, it really is world history, African history. If we look at the historical record, we know that we can because we've done it, right? If you think about Africa, you got to know about Egypt. Egypt is in Africa. Has anyone ever heard of Timbuktu? Yeah. It's a library, correct? No? Library / university? Google it. You can fact check me real quick. Go ahead. Google it. One of the oldest known to man, right? So we know that we have a strong connection to education, which is knowledge. As a matter of fact, Africans spread out throughout the world to provide education and knowledge, to share that information. Things were going quite well in Africa, and we decided, man, we can't just leave this stuff here. We need to let everybody know about this. We need to show them how to plant, how to study, how to read, how to collect information. All that information was in Africa, and those people there decided to share it with the rest of the world. Not as conquerors, not as, we. I told you I take up too much space. Just hold it, you sure? Because I can't talk with my hand. There you go. Okay, is that good? Okay. So not as conquerors, not as oppressors, as a part of humankind to go out and share this information so that others could take advantage of it and excel. Right? Okay. So I hope y'all, I hope you got your Google out and you checking that information. So what happened was, as a result of us going out and educating the world, we kind of let the world know what we had going on in Africa. Anybody ever heard of Mansa Musa? Yeah. Yeah. They said he's the richest man that ever lived. Yeah. On his pilgrimage to Mecca, the caravan was so large and they were just tossing money out, gold. Basically, it changed the economics of the places that they traveled through on the way there. But it's not just about money, it is about knowledge and education. Speeding it up a little bit, adding a little bit of my story in. I was born in 1974. Okay. I was born in 1974. Now I see some of the folks in here looking like, oh, you're a young buck. And some of the young folks in here looking like, he not that old. That's cool. Think what you want to think. I was born in 1974. And although I got an excellent education from School 53, a community school, I remember a lot of the things we did to embrace my blackness and the other students their blackness, black teachers, black principal. What I failed to do, and I'm not going to put it on the educational system, what I failed to do is recognize how close I was to history. We would talk about Martin Luther King. We would look at the civil rights movement. And, you know, I'm a kid. I'm looking at these movies that they're showing, and they're black and white. I'm like, man, that was a long time ago, right? That was a long time ago. I'm sure glad it's not like that now. Wow, I'm so glad all that stuff happened so long ago. In reality, I was born in 1974. Martin Luther King was killed in 1968. That's less than 10 years, right? That's less than 10 years. So in reality, what I had thought was something that had happened in the far distant past so long ago had happened in my parents' lifetime, had happened in my grandparents' lifetime. I was that close to these historical moments, but I was so disconnected by my youth. I thought that it was so long ago and everything was just going to be fine. We were good, right? The reality was, and still is, that if I had a better idea of the concept of time and history and my place in it, I could have took my education a lot more seriously. A lot more seriously. I was completely disconnected from the history because I'm like, as most young folks do, that's the old way. We got it figured out now. You know, my father had the old two-step. I'm like, that two-step is lame. We break dancing. Pop, 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 pop. Not recognizing the significance of history and my part in it. Okay? Another thing, and you might have some interest in this, talking about knowledge, education. Anybody ever heard of a Negro spiritual? Raise your hand if you heard of that. Okay? I wish we had mics out there so you could tell me a little something. But Negro spirituals were used to escape slavery. You know that, right? It was a code. You know, our ancestors would be working in the fields, toiling, thinking about freedom, and they would sing some of those Negro spirituals to let them know, hey, tonight's the night. Now, you couldn't tell everybody. You know, you had to have that code. And if you knew what the code was, then you were ready. If you didn't know, you weren't. So if you was down, you was good. All right? Now, I like to think of that in historical reference because we talk about our culture. We know the drum is important. We know that rhythm and music is important. And it's not just important for people from the African diaspora. It's important for people everywhere. I heard someone speaking and saying, when you think about a child, their first movement is dance. The first thing they start doing is dancing and shaking if you sing them a song, right? And children are the most innocent beings on the planet. So there's a natural connection to that rhythm, that vibe, and that movement. And it carries a positive connotation, right? Throughout history, we look at that particular time period. We use music to free ourselves, right? Can we agree with that? We use music as a way to communicate and set ourselves free. All right, I'm not going to make a comment on it, but now you listen to music. Is it freeing us? You didn't have to answer. You didn't have to answer. I got my own opinion formed on that. All right, so you can, because throughout history, we've overcome so many things. We've been educators at the core. We can get back to that. It's in your DNA. And honestly, I'm not excluding anyone. I'm not excluding anyone. I'll debate anyone and come to the same conclusion. I don't believe in this versus that. I believe in the human connection. I believe that you can educate yourself out of ignorance, any kind of ignorance. So this is a message for everyone. All right. Moving from you can to you will. You ready for the call response? I see a couple folks going to sleep, leaning over. It's cool. It's cool. I'm used to it. I was a teacher. But without the podium, I could walk around and put my hand on your shoulder. Can't do that here. So I'll just do the call and response. So the next one is, you're not going to start that. The next one is you will. So now we're going to do the call response. You ready? All right. You will. You will. I will. I will. We will. We will. Okay? We will. All right? We can do it. We will. I have faith that we will do it. All of us, collectively. Now, jumping into the historical context, you young folks might have, I guess, some interest in this portion. Who's familiar with hip hop? Raise your hand. Man, I could teach a whole lesson on this. Like, look, take this jacket off, get a chalkboard up. Oh, excuse me, a whiteboard. This is a lesson, right? Who's familiar with rap? Is there a difference between hip hop and rap? Yes. Ooh, I got some smart ones in here. Okay, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, there is a difference. All right, so steady test, steady test. So hip hop is a culture. If you know what the 4 elements of hip hop is, raise your hand. Ooh. Well, I'll just ask this one because I had it written down. I got to ask it. If you know what the 5 elements of hip hop is, raise your hand. Hey, he's a hip hop head. All right, so here we go. Y'all got to let me teach for a second. Don't fall asleep. Y'all let me teach for a second. Okay? First, historical reference. Hip-hop was created, there's some debate about this. I don't want to get in trouble. Hip-hop was created or born South Bronx. Queensbridge got a little bit to say about that, but we're going to stick with South Bronx for now. I'm not going to debate that. Right? Does anybody know how it was created, though?
It was
Go ahead.
It wasn't. I think it was created.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
You got 2 seconds.
Hold on, no, it was on the tip of my tongue. Ooh. Not in the garage. Not in the garage.
Not in the garage? Okay.
No, it wasn't in no garage.
All right. Anybody else?
It was on a. Dang.
In an apartment?
He was
Y'all telling me the
in my
setting.
face.
All right, pass the mic.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. All right. So I wasn't really talking about the setting. Oh, this young lady right here. Okay, come on, come up. And you got 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I said maybe beatboxing.
Beatboxing?
No. Got it a little bit.
That could be an aspect of it.
All right.
All right. Okay. Here you go. We got one more?
Hello?
Go ahead.
When they used to break dance, they used to
Hold on.
They used to break dance, and then they used to have an MC in the background with the DJ.
Ooh, he just hit you with 3 elements. All right, so I want to reel it back in. So thank you, young people, for having the bravery to speak up. I love that. And I think every time we give you the opportunity, you rise to the challenge. Okay? So, 4 elements of hip hop. I say for you to have true hip hop, you got to have a 5th element. I'm not going to tell you the elements yet. I'm going to tell you the history of it. So in the South Bronx at the time, in New York City at the time, late 70s, early 80s, we talk about segregation. Basically, you had poor young people with absolutely no outlet. No outlet. They had nothing to do. If you go and look at the historical record, the imagery, some of these cities and neighborhoods looked like third world countries. Bombed out buildings. It was bad, very bad. Gangs were running rampant. Drug use running rampant. Wasn't a lot of positivity going on, right? It got so bad, right? Freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, right? So we 14 to about 17, 18, right? It got so bad for these young people in terms of the violence in their communities that they decided, like, yo, we can't do this. The gangs got together. There was one murder of an individual who was always seen as a unifier among the gangs. He could go wherever he wanted to. And this individual was murdered, and instead of these young people essentially starting a war amongst themselves, they came together and started a truce. All the gang leaders came in and they spoke their piece. It was pretty much like a restorative circle. All right? Y'all should be familiar with that. But it was led by these young people. Maybe the oldest in there was in his mid-20s or her mid-20s, but it was young people that said, listen, we got to do something about this. This is wrong. And they made a truce. No more killing, no more shooting, no more stabbing, none of that. And then what happened was they were already throwing little parties here and there, right? But to solidify the truce, they allowed gang members from other neighborhoods to come to their neighborhoods to party. Hey, look, now I know everybody in this room has now liked the party or has at one time liked the party. So we can understand the power of a good party. Most definitely. Look at, we can understand the power of a good party. And the most excellent thing about it was they came to the party and they adhered to the truce. They started hanging out more and more. But guess what? They still young, had that energy, had that aggression. They had the beats. They had the DJ. And they had the dance, but instead of doing the two-step like my pops was doing, they started doing these fantastic movements to express their energy and their anger without harming anyone. And that's how you got breakdancing. That's how you got breakdancing, right? Now, I told you the DJ, this young man pointed out, you had the DJ real quick. Basically, what we did was we took those long, drawn-out disco songs that would have an extended beat. They called it a break beat. They got two turntables, and they would extend that beat to amp the party up. So no singing, just beat. Drums, right? Just beat, and they start going in. They start going in. So then they started to battle each other. So instead of fighting, like, oh, I got a problem with you, you got a problem with me, all right, bring my crew. Battle it out. Battle it out. Go home, had a good time. Still poor, though. That's another story. All right, so we got breaking, right, which is dancing. Go look on YouTube right now. They have a video from, I think, the 1920s or 1930s where they show Africans in a ceremony, and it essentially looks like they breakdancing. Black and white video. Swear. All right, so we got breakdancing, we got DJing with the break beat. All right, we have, I gotta check, MCing, which came later. The MC, y'all know, master of ceremonies. This is our mistress of ceremonies, right? MC, that's where it came from, MC. So it started with, hey, y'all, come on, throw your hands in the air, have a good time, woo, woo, woo. Then somebody said, I got something to say. I got something to say. Next thing you know, the MC is developed along with the DJ. And now you got a crew, because you got a DJ, you got an MC, and you got your B-boys, break beat, breaking. Follow me? All right, those three elements. Fourth element, please somebody know the fourth element. Think about culture. You got music, right? You have the spoken word. Huh? I heard it. Say it again. Graffiti. Graffiti. But hold on. Think about the context. Because graffiti is art, right? But if you don't have an outlet and you an artist, you're going to paint where you can. I couldn't get into the good school and go paint a Rembrandt type painting. All I got is these cheap spray can bottles, this brick wall on this busted up building in my neighborhood that nobody cares about anyway. Man, I'm going to make that joint beautiful. Right? Now, for a long time, graffiti was looked down upon. Now, I'll be honest with you. At some point in Buffalo, they paid some artists to put up murals on buildings across the city. Vibrant, bright colors. Probably expands the traditional concept or idea of what art is. When I walk by, I'm like, hey, look at that graffiti. And they got paid to do it. All right? So, we have MCing, the spoken word, oral tradition. DJing, the one that plays the music. Breaking, dancing. Graffiti, the artistic expression of the culture. 4 elements, right? Now, the 5th element is the most debatable element, but not for me, because I already explained it to you if you're paying attention. Bam! The 5th element is knowledge. You cannot have hip-hop without knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, even if you have those 4 other elements, it is not reflective of the culture that created hip-hop. Now, tell me, in this little story I just told you, where was the knowledge? Where was it? Everywhere, for sure. Everywhere, because it takes a mind, a great mind, to look at the break beat, extend it out, put 2 turntables together and make it an instrument. It takes an incredible mind to stand there and like, man, this beat, I'm feeling this beat. And they just start going, right? The graffiti, knowledge, expressing yourself. But where was the knowledge? Where else? At the creation of the culture, when the gangs came together and said, we don't look right killing ourselves. That was the knowledge. That was the impetus of hip-hop. That's why you cannot have hip-hop without that 5th element. Because if you remain true to the culture, you have to follow all those elements. And the original element, before there was breaking, before there was DJing, before there was the graffiti, and it was all combined, was the knowledge that we live in a system that is not for us, and we're going to create something for us, and we need to see each other as allies. Knowledge is the 5th element of hip-hop, and that's why it's so very important for you to remember that when you start to listen to the things you do, when you watch the things you do, so you can make that differentiation. So you can say to yourself, man, that's not hip-hop. He telling me, she telling me to do these drugs. He telling me, she telling me to go kill another person. He telling me, she telling me to go have reckless sex. That's not knowledge. That's not preservation of self. The whole thing was born of preservation, preserving ourselves and preserving our community. That's the 5th element. So when I say you will, what do you think was born in those young people to decide that? You think they just woke up one day? Nah, that stuff was dormant in them. They knew what was going on was wrong. They just needed to come together. So I know you will. I know you will, because it's inside of you. And all you need to do is make sure that everything that you involve yourself in is respectful of those 5 elements. Most importantly, knowledge. Most importantly, knowledge. Y'all understand? Okay, I'm done teaching. I'm done teaching with that one. Okay? That was a lesson. Y'all like that one? All right. So I'm taking you past, present. I consider hip-hop the present. I was born in the hip-hop era. Hip-hop was born in me. So now, the next thing is you must, right? So y'all know what to do now, right? Okay? You must. You must. I must. I must. We must. We must. See, you know what now? I'm up here sweating. I done broke down the lesson, gave you something to tell your parents. Give me a little bit more for the last leg. All right, a little bit more. Okay? Everybody, too. Everybody. Okay. You must. You must. I must. I must. We must. We must. There you go. There you go. See, I seen the elders getting in on that one, too. They hit me with a little black power fist on the side. All right. So, you must. Now, I don't want to shift levels of importance to this, but this is the most important. The must part. You must, right? Because this is the part where we've already looked at what everybody else did throughout history. We looked at what these folks did to develop this culture, which is essentially a blueprint for developing ourselves to our higher self, right? Developing our higher selves. So we're looking at what everybody else done did, but the must part depends on who? Ourselves. Ourselves. See, here's the thing. Once you are armed with knowledge, you have a choice. You have a choice. You can apply that knowledge or you can ignore it. Now, I personally believe if you get knowledge and ignore it, there's a price to pay for that. There's a price to pay for that. Right? But if you get that knowledge and apply it, the rewards go beyond any job, any career, any relationship. Because you know yourself, you know your purpose, right? You know yourself, you know your purpose. When you have purpose, other things tend to fall right off you, you know? And I know that in high school, that's a difficult concept, right? Because as young people, we want to belong. And trust me, us old heads want to belong too. We want to belong too, trust me. We want to belong too. But it's very difficult for young people to step outside of some things, especially when they're looking at everybody else doing it. And it's difficult to be yourself. But I'm going to tell you that you are connected to all these struggles, all these fights, all these matters of importance. And history for you is replaying itself right in front of our eyes. Right? You don't have to be like me and say, man, Martin Luther King, he got killed a long time ago. You open up social media, you open up anything on the internet, and you can see the destruction of life. People who look like you. You can see the mistreatment. All right? Don't think that you can't do something about that. You can. But the first step is accepting the challenge that there needs to be a change. Just like them young folks did when they were tired of the killing. Just like our ancestors did when it was time to get up off that plantation and reunite our families and gain freedom. It's still the same fight. It's just in a different package. It's just in a different package. And based on what I've studied, based on my experience with young people as a teacher, as an educator, as a mentor, I know you can do these great things. History has shown me that, but once again, anytime I put that bar up there, I'll always get a kid to rise up to it. Always. But you just have to carry that with you. All right. First step is, please use this technology for more than just finding the hot sneakers at the best price. It's okay. It's okay to do that. Trust me. I like to find a good deal. I like to go shop. You know, this Michael Kors jacket. I got this joint for $60. That's double it. Double it. Right? So technology has its uses, but the most important use should be identifying and finding knowledge. Right? And then the next step is applying it to your life. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up on that. But I want you to remember, man, make that personal choice. Choose knowledge, choose information, and then go with that. Thank you.
Question and answers, but first we want to have Drea. She's going to do a song in a little bit. Okay, so right now we're going to do a little Q&A with Will Green. Will, do you want to get to answer you? we'll give you the mic here. And then after he's done, Drea will perform another song. I think then it will be time for lunch. And after lunch, we will have shake.
So for Q&A, I think, are there a couple of mics floating around? All right, young people, I'll answer questions to the best of my ability, but you know, we are in a public place, so I have to give you the professional. All right, who has a question? Anybody? No? We got one right here.
Hi, my name is Tamisha Walker, and I'm from Burglar. And my question is, what is your opinion on Black excellence?
My opinion on it? I love it. What? What's not to like about Black excellence? I think it's important for us to know that I'm in love with Black excellence. I'm in love with brown excellence. I'm in love with white excellence. I'm in love with polka dot excellence. That's what I'm saying. Excellence is reaching that higher level within yourself. And when you do that, regardless of what you look like, how you speak, what language you speak, when you achieve excellence and you communicate with your higher self and it guides you daily, the outcomes are going to be magnificent, not just for you, but for your community, for your city, for your state, for your country, for the world. It's that simple. So everybody should be working to achieve their own specific type of excellence. I mean, I'm kind of invested in Black excellence, but everybody should be excellent. Sure.
How do you feel about Donald Trump and how do you feel about
Hold on, I want to hear the rest of this question. I like to explain this.
I was saying, how do you feel about Donald Trump as far as like his whole war thing and how he's like messing up the government and stuff like that? Now, how do you feel like that us as African Americans lift each other up, you know, get him out of office with all this stuff, like all the racism, all this stuff that he's done on national government.
Okay, so the Donald Trump question. So that's okay. I answer these questions relatively professionally. So for me, right, and this connects, everything I say connects, right? We talk about working to achieve that personal level of excellence, right? For me, you know, and I know for you, I tell people all the time, I would not want to be a young person in this world right now. I would not want to be a young person in this world right now because you guys are bombarded with information that is nonstop. You know, if I had a problem in school with somebody, we went somewhere off to the side and handled it. Only a few people knew it was over. Nowadays, you have a problem, it's on social media forever. You go to sleep and wake up, it's still there, you can't escape it. I can't understand that type of pressure, right? So the point I'm making is this. When you're achieving your own form of excellence, do you allow other things to knock you off of that? No. No. So, in reality, I see what Trump is doing. I see what other people are doing. And, you know, I kind of store it away. And I remember what's happening. But, for the most part, I'm trying to develop myself so I can be the best that I can be. And I believe that if I find the right group of people who are all of that same mindset and working towards that goal, everything else falls into place. There is nothing that he could do on social media. I mean, I've seen people talk about people, and just because he's the president doesn't make it any different for me. Anybody who does something negative to someone who can't defend themselves is not the type of person I like or want to be around. but that's the state of politics right now. So we'll find ways to deal with that. But the most important thing for me is to develop myself in a way that I can start to tackle those things with a group of people who share the same vision. One of the things I think we all need to do, and I'm guilty of it too, man, stop looking at the phone, stop looking at YouTube, turn the news off, because what happens is it starts to develop and guide what you do every day. Spend some time with yourself as opposed to looking at all this propaganda on TV screen. Because honestly, I personally think it's just to set people against each other. I have people who I would consider friends that support Trump, and I guess nowadays, like, oh, I'm deleting and blocking them. Well, I'm a teacher. I don't delete and block, I teach. So I'm going to engage in discussion with you, not debate, not argument. I'm going to lay down my facts clear and concise. And if you don't agree, and I walk away, I don't agree with you, we still walk away. But at the end of the day, I count my friends by if things really take a turn for the worse, we'll be beside you. And I don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay, so I know we had a couple people with their hands up, but you got the mic.
Hello, my name is Daisy Lockett. I'm a Bird Guide. Firstly, how do you feel about when African Americans come together because a lot of our culture is spoke? Like we try to come together as one. Not saying that, it wouldn't be good if people came together as one, but, when we're trying to do things to reunite us, I feel like we get backtracked. How do you feel about that?
Cultural appropriation, right? So I'm gonna tell you something funny. So I've been blessed to have a diverse teaching experience, which means I've taught students from a lot of different places: inner city, suburbs, rural areas, Africa, Burma, everywhere, right? And when you talk about cultural appropriation, there are some Africans who believe that we appropriate their culture, right? But if you trace back to what I'm telling you about the history of Africa, and that goal was to set out from Africa and educate the world, is it appropriation if we are teaching? That's like me showing you how to do a math problem, and it's my way, and then you start using that way to do it. And I'm like, you stole that from me. No, I taught you, right? But it's important to keep it all within that context, right? Because there's a dangerous element of hip hop that doesn't involve knowledge. So those who want to indulge in any culture or other cultures, when you start to imitate that culture, imitate, but the way you imitate it is you show respect for that culture by making sure that when you produce something that was born of that culture, it adheres to all those elements of it, that love and that respect. I don't have a problem with people want to lock your hair and do a different race. It's beautiful, you should. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But it's all about how it's done. Is it done tastefully? Is it done respectfully? Questions? Yeah. Thank you. I know this young girl right here. I know her. You got twin sisters, right? Yeah. Tia was one of my students. Yeah. I'm ready. You can say it without the mic. Go ahead. Let them hear you. You don't need a mic? Go ahead.
African Americans.
Yeah. Okay, so that's materialism. So he asked me how do I feel when essentially people look at other people who don't have a certain pair of sneakers or a certain pair of clothes. All right, that's materialism, right? That's materialism. I'll tell you a funny thing, and this might be past your time. Remember when white tees was hot? Remember? You ain't need nothing but a fresh pair of jeans and some clean sneakers and a white tee that you could go to Walmart and get in a pack of $5 to $10. Right? Right? I talk about cultural appropriation. What happened was they took the white tee, we made it stylish, they slapped a little label on it and started charging $50 for a white tee. Does that make sense? You was rocking it when it was about $2 a shirt, and felt good, looked good, but somebody else put a label on it and said, nah, this is better than the one you were wearing, even though you originated the style. So what does that tell you, right? Right? What does that tell you? So, don't get me started on that. But once again, that's the same question as a Donald Trump question about him talking about people and everything else. I don't really roll with people who talk about other people, especially when you look at what they have, because when you start really digging and seeing what is rich and wealthy in comparison to what is poor, you'll be like, oh, well, there's actually a whole bunch of us who are really poor. I learned that lesson in college. Oh, I'm poor. So, no. You just have to make sure, you can't control what people do because you don't know what access to knowledge and information they have, and they need to grow. So, the materialism thing, nah, we hot without materialism. Don't forget that. I think this is the last question. You take 10 minutes. Okay, we'll squeeze you in. All right. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Myron Jones. First, I want to take time out.
Okay, hold on a second. Hey, folks, last 2 questions. Hold on. Okay.
I just want to know how you feel about police brutality.
Okay. All right, so thank you for the appreciation. I appreciate that. But you don't know, I'm getting more from this than you are. You know, good teachers soak up the energy of the youth. That's how we stay young. So, police brutality, wrong. Brutality is wrong regardless of who's inflicting it, right? We know it's wrong. How do we solve it? You're trying to get me in trouble on this thing. At the end of the day, I'm a firm believer that communities have to empower themselves to deal with the issues that are in their community. Does that mean that we can't work in concert with the police? No, it doesn't. But they have to understand that some issues need to be solved on the ground level and not by just throwing folks in jail or beating it out. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Dave and I'm from Beauregard High School, and I want to ask this question. I don't know, maybe you're part of it, but how do you feel about immigrants being treated around the world besides maybe
So how do I feel about them, how they're being treated?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to take a positive or negative stance. I can only tell you. And how I feel is that when I worked at Lafayette, like I said, it was the greatest experience for me because I worked in primarily schools with African American students or Latino students or white students. So to go into an environment like Lafayette where you have students from all over the world, number one, it reignited my passion for education. Because, you know, we started a welcoming party at the school, first day of school, and then I got some teachers, it's amazing, I'm like, yeah, when you come to school, we gotta let them know this is the place to be. So we had a welcoming party at the door, and I was ready to go, and I'm like, man, I hope these kids here, I hope these kids here. And I opened up the door, and I saw all those students there, like this crowd this big, waiting to come into school, and I hadn't seen that in a long time. I was like, oh, yeah, let's go. Like they wanted to learn. So I appreciate that. But working with families from other countries, it was a relationship that was mutually beneficial because I was able to share with these parents who had no clue about culture in America, specifically urban culture, and some of the pitfalls that I saw my friends fall into and family fall into. I was able to educate those parents on that. But they were also able to educate me on where they came from, some of the hardships and adversities and challenges that they faced. And essentially what happened was I became a part of their family. I still communicate with them to this day. I still communicate. And I think that is really where we should go. To be honest with you, this is Black History Month, and we got to talk about oppression, right? We got to talk about oppression and what it does. I firmly believe that oppressing anyone, it makes a society less likely to achieve its potential. When you shut certain people out, you're losing their talent and creativity and ability to create something new. So I don't care how good it gets with that small population that you deem fit to be cool, right? It's so much better when you have input with everyone from everywhere. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so thanks for having me. I have to go to work. This is a great way to start the day.
To carry on.